Hello and welcome, guys. Today, we're diving into a gripping sci-fi horror film from 1995 titled Species. Spoiler alert, proceed with caution. The story begins with humanity's 30-year quest to uncover alien life through SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, using the world's most powerful radio telescopes. One fateful night, this ambitious project takes a dark turn in a lab in Utah. A young girl named Sil, seemingly innocent yet shrouded in mystery, is placed in a sealed chamber, sentenced to death by cyanide gas. As the lethal process unfolds, the head of the project, Xavier, watches with tears streaming down his face, whispering an apology, a chilling start to a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat. But Sil refuses to accept her fate. With astonishing speed and strength, she shatters the glass chamber and escapes, leaving the guards powerless to stop her. Desperately fleeing, she leaps onto a moving train, where her ordeal takes an even stranger turn. Visions of a monstrous creature haunt her mind. When a homeless man approaches, Sil reacts with deadly force, pushing him so hard that he dies instantly. Unfazed by her actions, she calmly takes the man's clothes to replace her lab gown, blending in as best she can. When the train halts at a station, Sil disembarks and begins exploring the station's shop, curiously observing and piecing together the mechanics of capitalism in her alien understanding of the human world. Determined to survive, Sil slips into a pile of luggage and swiftly steals a bag before boarding a different train, this time blending in with passengers. She heads to the dining car, deftly pilfering money, and, in the kitchen, stuffs her stolen bag with food and random items, ducking out of sight whenever footsteps approach. With her newfound supplies, Sil retreats to a cabin and settles in, devouring her stolen food while curiously watching a small TV she discovered in the bag, her wide-eyed fascination hinting that these simple human pleasures are entirely new to her. When the train conductor arrives to check for a ticket, a friendly woman offers to buy one for Sil, who nods along to her questions, playing the part of an ordinary passenger. Sil spends the journey devouring as much food as she can, but sleep eludes her, plagued by vivid nightmares and strange, pulsing bumps forming beneath her skin. Then, without warning, her body erupts with writhing tentacles, a horrifying transformation she can't control. When the conductor checks on her again, she discovers a grotesque cocoon clinging to the ceiling. Her curiosity costs her life as she's swiftly killed. Meanwhile, Xavier and his team discover the murdered hobo and realize, with growing dread, that Sil has vanished into the world, her location, and her next move an ominous mystery. Unable to involve the police without raising difficult questions, Xavier assembles a specialized team to track Sil down. The group includes Don, an empath with a unique ability to sense emotions and presences; Stephen, a Harvard anthropologist and expert in cross-cultural behavior; Lavra, a brilliant molecular biologist; and Preston, a government freelancer skilled at eliminating loose ends. In Xavier's office, he lays everything bare, recounting the origins of the crisis. After 30 years of broadcasting messages into the cosmos, the SETI project finally received an answer, a chilling response from an alien intelligence that set this deadly chain of events in motion. The alien message contains something extraordinary, a new sequence of DNA, accompanied by seemingly friendly instructions on how to merge it with human DNA. Following the directions, scientists injected this alien sequence into 100 human ova. Only one survived, a being they codenamed Sil, who astonished them by growing from an embryo into a young girl in just 1 month. For safety, they kept her isolated and caged, but as the months passed, troubling signs emerged. By the time she was 3 months old, Sil began experiencing terrifying nightmares, and strange, pulsating bumps started appearing beneath her skin, a harbinger of the alien nature they couldn't fully comprehend. Faced with Sil's rapid and unpredictable evolution, the project was abruptly canceled, and the order to terminate her was given, but Sil escaped, prompting the team's urgent mission to track and kill her before it's too late. Meanwhile, back on the train, Sil emerges from her grotesque cocoon, now fully grown into a striking woman. Dressed in the conductor's stolen clothes and fanny pack, she disembarks in Los Angeles, her intense gaze lingering on the children in the streets. Blending into her surroundings, Sil indulges in a shopping spree, including a stunning dress, before checking into a motel. There she immerses herself in television, absorbing new information about human culture, hair dye, adult films, and even a recent earthquake, her alien mind processing it all with a cold, calculating curiosity. While Sil settles into her new surroundings, the team is summoned to examine the conductor's gruesome remains. Don taps into his empathic abilities, sensing Sil's fear during the incident, but no trace of remorse. Lavra theorizes that Sil's constant eating must be fueling something significant, while Steven identifies the strange, sticky substances on the ceiling as remnants of a cocoon, clear evidence of her transformation. Preston sharpens their strategy, instructing guards to monitor for any use of the conductor's stolen credit card, suspecting Sil might exploit it. Realizing the urgency, the team heads to Los Angeles, the train's last stop, and checks into a hotel. Meanwhile, Xavier mobilizes their lab equipment to follow, as Lavra hints she has a crucial plan that might give them an edge. Lavra proposes a daring plan to grow another alien, this time using pure alien DNA without human combination, to study its vulnerabilities and gain an advantage over Sil. Once the lab is operational, she gets to work, carefully manipulating the alien DNA. But as the experiment progresses, the lab's camera feed unexpectedly goes down. Determined to fix the issue, Lavra enlists Preston's help, and together they work to replace the camera. Suddenly, amidst their repairs, the alien DNA reacts on its own, activating with alarming speed and beginning to grow at an uncontrollable rate, throwing the lab into chaos. Chaos erupts as Lavra and Preston scramble to contain the rapidly growing alien. They race to seal the box, but in their haste, a bolt falls loose, giving the creature an opening to escape. Xavier, bound by strict contamination protocols, refuses to open the lab door, insisting the room must be incinerated along with everything inside. Desperate to survive, Lavra and Preston fight to push the creature back. But just as it seems all hope is lost, the rest of the team forces Xavier aside and throws the door open, rescuing their friends moments before the lab is engulfed in flames. Meanwhile, as night falls in Los Angeles, Sil adapts further to human life. Dressed in casual clothes, she approaches the motel receptionist with an unsettlingly direct question, where she can find a good man. The motel receptionist directs Sil to a nearby club, and when he asks for her credit card to cover incidentals, he unknowingly uses the conductor's stolen card, alerting the team to her location. At the club, Sil attempts to approach a man, but she's quickly pushed aside by another woman, her competition. Not one to back down, Sil follows the woman into the bathroom and kills her in a grisly stall confrontation. With the obstacle gone, Sil seeks out another man and finds Robbie, who eagerly takes her back to his place. However, as things begin to heat up, Sil pauses, sensing something unsettling within Robbie's body, and abruptly changes her mind. When Robbie refuses to let her go, Sil, feeling cornered and threatened, kills him in a brutal act of self-preservation. Meanwhile, the team arrives at the motel, retrieves the security tapes, and sends them off to the lab for analysis. The receptionist directs them to the club, where they find the woman's body in the bathroom. The bouncer recalls seeing Sil leave with one of the club's regulars, so the team shifts focus to tracking down Robbie. By the time they reach his house, they only find his lifeless body. Lavra examines the situation, realizing that Sil is instinctively trying to mate, but changed her mind when she sensed Robbie was unfit, his body inadequate for her needs. The discovery of medicine in Robbie's bathroom reveals that he was diabetic, which leads the team to realize that Sil has the ability to detect genetic flaws in potential mates. Meanwhile, Sil has stolen Robbie's car, but with both the team and the police swarming the motel and club, she quickly drives away to escape. She spends a restless night in the car, tormented by nightmares, and by morning, she's back on the road, driving aimlessly until the car sputters to a stop in Santa Monica from running out of gas. As she tries to cross the street, a driver fails to see her and accidentally strikes her, fleeing the scene. However, a witness named John immediately rushes to her aid and takes her to the hospital, her fate once again hanging in the balance. As John checks Sil into the hospital and covers her expenses with his card, eager to help, the doctor examines her and is astonished by how rapidly she's healed. However, he also spots the pulsing bumps on her back, prompting Sil to make a swift decision she must leave before her secret is exposed. On her way out, she unexpectedly runs into John, who has stayed at the hospital, anxiously waiting to learn if she survived the crash. Sensing his kindness and health, Sil realizes he could be a suitable mate, and without hesitation, she asks him to take her home. At John's house, he makes dinner and even takes a selfie with Sil, but her impatience quickly takes over as she drags him into the jacuzzi, eager to move things forward. Meanwhile, back with the team, they manage to enhance the security footage, though Sil's face remains unclear. However, they can tell she's in her prime, which is more troubling than they first realized. This means she could potentially have multiple partners, impregnating dozens of women at once, a terrifying thought. The team now understands they're dealing with a highly predatory species, one that could threaten the very survival of humanity. As the police locate Robbie's car, the team heads to Santa Monica, where they receive an alarming call from the doctor, who's discovered unsettling abnormalities in Sil's blood sample. At the hospital, the team tracks down John's card information and rushes to his house, unaware that Sil is listening to every move they make. Sensing their approach, she decides to act quickly, pushing John underwater to drown him before hiding in the bushes, leaving no trace behind. By the time the team arrives outside, it's too late. John is gone. The selfie he took with Sil proves useless, as she's already moved, and they're no closer to identifying her. With no other leads, and the night drawing to a close, the team reluctantly heads back to the hotel to rest, planning to stake out the club the following day in hopes of finding her. Meanwhile, Sil has stolen a car from a random woman and drives back to John's house, arriving just in time to see the team leave. Using her sharp instincts, she reads Xavier's lips and deduces they'll be heading to the club. Once she knows their whereabouts, Sil takes refuge for the night in the house of the woman she hijacked the car from, leaving the woman tied to the bed. As Sil tries to rest, another nightmare grips her, a disturbing vision of herself with Preston, an image that unsettles her even in sleep. In the morning, Sil hatches a plan to shake the team off her trail. First, she cuts off her own finger, knowing she can regrow another, then takes one from the woman she's holding captive, tossing it in the trash to mislead them. With her devious plan set in motion, she heads to a gas station, filling several containers with gasoline before carefully scouting the area for a building with a high-voltage transformer. That evening, as the team stands watch outside the club, nothing happens until Don steps outside for a breath of fresh air. In that fleeting moment, Sil appears before him, just long enough for him to catch a glimpse before she vanishes into the shadows. She quickly jumps into a car, where the kidnapped woman and gasoline containers wait, ready for the next phase of her plan. The team pursues Sil out of town, unaware that they are walking right into her trap. She drives the car straight toward the building with the high-voltage transformer, leaping out just before it crashes. A massive explosion erupts, incinerating the vehicle, while Sil, ever resourceful, escapes in another car she had stashed nearby earlier. The body of the kidnapped woman is discovered, horribly burned, and the team assumes it's Sil, especially when they find her thumb wedged in the car door. Meanwhile, Sil returns to the woman's house, using the opportunity to dye and cut her hair to further change her appearance. As the team unwinds, celebrating their supposed victory, they remain blissfully unaware of the deception unfolding right under their noses. Sil arrives at the hotel bar, blending in with the crowd, and while in the bathroom, she unexpectedly bumps into Lavra. Seizing the moment, Sil slyly borrows some of Laura's perfume before slipping away. Meanwhile, Lavra, feeling tired, announces she's heading back to her room, prompting Preston to follow her after Don and Steven teasingly push him, insisting that Lavra clearly wants him. However, in the elevator, Preston encounters Sil, who comments on her perfume, unaware of her true intentions. Sil, ever the predator, gets off on the same floor as Preston, her intentions crystal clear. She plans to make him her next mate, using him to create her offspring. As Sil approaches Preston and Laura's room, she hears them getting intimate, which only fuels her frustration. After stealing a maid's key, she slips into the room next door, where she listens to the sounds of the couple through the wall, all while visions of unsettling images continue to plague her mind. Meanwhile, back at the bar, Steven attempts to flirt with some women, but is swiftly turned down, resigning himself to call it a night. However, when he enters his room, he's startled to find Sil there. Without hesitation, she drags him to the bed, and Steven, a socially awkward nerd who has never had much luck with women, doesn't question a thing. This is his moment, his chance at the attention he's always craved, and he's eager to seize it. As Sil takes what she wants from Steven, the strange, unsettling visions continue to haunt her, and soon they begin to affect Don, who senses her presence in the building. Feeling the shift, Don approaches Steven's room, where he picks up on the dark, evil energy radiating from Sil. Alarmed, he rushes to recruit Lavra and Preston to help. Meanwhile, Sil, having completed her task, feels the life growing inside her, a deep connection to the unborn offspring. When Steven realizes what's happening, panic sets in, but before he can scream, Sil swiftly kills him. Just as the team arrives at the room, Sil transforms into her full alien form, and in a split second, she escapes, running through the wall with supernatural speed, leaving the team stunned and powerless. The team follows Sil down to the parking lot, where they discover that she's somehow managed to pass through a steel door, further heightening their sense of urgency. Armed with flamethrowers from Preston's car, they make their way into the tunnel Sil used to escape, finding the maintenance worker dead, a grim sign of her path. As they explore, they come across an open manhole, confirming their worst fear. Sil has fled into the sewers. Reluctantly, the team enters the dark, dank tunnels, with Preston leading the way, his flamethrower always ready, cautiously igniting the flames before rounding any corner, preparing for whatever monstrous threat may lie ahead. Don, frustrated and confused by his inability to sense Sil's direction, watches as the team splits up, a decision that quickly proves disastrous. Sil, cunning as ever, has been hiding underwater, and when Xavier is left alone, she seizes the opportunity, leaping at him and killing him before escaping through a crack in the wall, likely caused by the recent earthquake. Once she's out of the water, Don finally picks up on her presence, and the remaining team members, determined to find her, follow through the crack into a dark cavern. Unbeknownst to them, Sil is there, giving birth to a monstrous boy who is already feeding on rats, a horrifying sign of what's to come. The bottom of the cavern is slick with oil, and once again, the team splits up to cover more ground. As Don climbs some rocks, he spots the boy and tries to approach him gently, but the boy, now fully transformed into his alien form, attacks, sending Don crashing to the ground. Lavra rushes to help, but in the chaos, she slips and falls into the oil well, where flames are already beginning to spread. The boy, now in his full monstrous form, turns to attack Don again, but in a desperate move, Don uses the flamethrower to set him on fire. As he slips, Don hangs precariously on the edge of the rocks, watching the boy fall into the oil well, where the fire ignites a massive blaze, dangerously close to Lavra. Fear surges through Lavra, giving her the strength to climb out of the oil well and rush to Don, while Preston faces off against Sil, who emerges from the shadows, enraged by the death of her son. Sil's tentacle lashes out, wrapping around Preston's neck in a deadly grip, but he fights back, using a knife to sever the tentacle and free himself. Without hesitation, Preston pulls out his gun and shoots Sil repeatedly, knocking her off the edge and sending her plummeting into the raging oil fire below. With Sil momentarily defeated, Preston and Lava rush to Dan's aid, but just as they reach him, Sil grabs his legs, trying to drag him back into the inferno. In a desperate move, Preston loads his shotgun and blasts Sil in the head, finally putting an end to the deadly creature's reign. After helping Dan to his feet, the trio exits the sewers, relieved that the nightmare seems to be over. They walk away, unaware that deep in the darkness, one of the cave rats is feasting on the tentacle Preston had cut off. Slowly, the rat begins to morph, its body shifting and growing a new tentacle, which it uses to attack and kill other rats around it, hinting that the horror they thought they had ended might just be beginning again.